Depending on who you ask, this song is called Cockles and Mussels in Dublin's Fair City or Molly Malone. Whatever you call it, it's about a fictitious fish seller who lived in Dublin. I'm assuming you can follow the tab or the standard music notation from the beginning of the video well enough that you can learn the notes on your own. So rather than going note by note, we're going to go phrase by phrase, talk about fingerings and chord shapes and techniques that may make this easier to play. If you do need some help reading tab, I've got a video on that topic. I'll leave a link in the description. Also in the description, you'll find a link for ordering a PDF of this arrangement. Throughout this arrangement, you're going to want to pay attention to those chords above. If you know those chord forms, that's going to help you find good fingerings. Let's look at this intro first, the first 8 measures. And what we're doing here is going through some chords using a thumb 1, 2, 3, 2, 1 pattern. So we do that on a C chord, A minor chord, but only using fingers 1 and 2, moving to a D minor chord, keeping finger 2 down, and then moving to a G7 chord, keeping first finger down. Back to a C chord in measure 5, C chord, but now with an E in the bass. And then our conclusion to the intro. Fingerings will help with that. We have finger 3 and then an open string. Then we have a bass open string and finger 1. And then fingers 2 and 4. And then fingers 1 and 3. And I like to play those notes separated. But you can connect them if you want. That's really up to you. Now we're at verse 1. We're pick up to measure 9, and we're going to look at 9 through 16. What we have here is melody, over some bass arpeggios, and this is where it's really important just to hold those forms down. Measure 9, you might want to drill that a few times just to get the independent thumb and finger lines going. One, 2, and 3. So just drill that a bunch of times. You might want to do that with the next measure also. This is with an A minor chord. So just do that over and over again. Then put those 2 measures together. Just work on that independence. That'll be really important because you're going to see this treatment all the way through this first verse. We have that, as a matter of fact, in the next couple measures. D minor chord. Now, I don't need my first finger down for this D minor chord in this particular measure, but I'm going to put it down anyway. Partially it's because force of habit, but also when we get to the G7 over B chord in the next measure, we already have our first finger down, so we're good to go. So when you move to the G7 over B, all you have to do is keep fingers 1 and 3 down and move second finger to the 5th string. And if you're wondering about that G7 over B, I do have a video on slash chords, and I'll leave a link for that in the description. Measure 13 is more finger independence. So in measure 14 there, we are moving at the same time in the melody and the bass. So use fingers 4 and 2, and then an open string and finger 1, and then your bass string with finger 3, and then an open first string, and then we're back to the independent line there. Let's move on now to pick up to 17 through 24. Now measure 17 through 20 are the same as measure 9 through 12. A minor, D minor, but with first finger down here. Keep finger 1 and 3 down for the G7 over B. Now measure 21, it is different. This may be a spot where you want to isolate. Do do that over and over again for a while. Now notice that we just have a C chord there. The only finger I'm moving is my pinky when I have the melody note on the G, and then I let go so I can play the E. And then we have the melody over a bass run. Yet another spot you're going to want to drill. And if you know this phrase ending, that's going to be really helpful because this is going to come back over and over again in this arrangement. Pick up to 25 through measure 32. It's the exact same as measure 17 through 24. D minor with all fingers down. G7 over B, keep the common fingers. And only move the pinky here with the C chord down. And there's that ending I just talked about. Moving on, we're pick up to measure 33. This is verse 2. We're going to be looking at measures 33 through 40. It's busier here. You want to make sure you're bringing out those melody notes and not letting all the notes underneath overshadow the melody. As always, you want to hold down some chord forms. So pick up to 33. Bass note moves on beat 3 to 2nd fret, 5th string. And then we have an A minor chord that I'm doing with fingers 1 and 2 only. Then I'm moving to a D minor here, and as before, even though I don't need my first finger for this measure, I'm going to put it down anyway because of the measure that's coming up. Move to this G7 over B, and the only finger I have to move is my 2nd finger. Measure 37, you want to sustain the low C while you're moving your melody on the top. And then sustain this low B. Now in that last measure I played, measure 40, you want to try to sustain that D while you're playing the low G and the A. And now we're at measure 41 through 48. Measure 41 through 44 is the same music as 33 through 36. A minor with fingers 1 and 2. Full D minor chord here. And then keep fingers 1 and 3. Now this is different at measure 45. The only finger you need to move in 45 and 46 would be your pinky. Essentially, you're holding down most of a C chord, and sometimes I do just finger the full C chord with my 2nd finger down just out of habit. And then we have that ending, which we saw in measures 23 and 31. Now we're looking at pick up to 49 through 56. This is the exact same as measures 41 through 48. A minor with fingers 1 and 2. That full D minor chord. Keep the common fingers. Only have to move the pinky here. And that ending we saw before. That just keeps on coming back. And the last 4 measures are a repeat of the 4 measures you just got done playing. It's just a little echo. And that was Molly Malone, also known as Cockles and Muscles, also known as In Dublin's Fair City. Whatever you want to call it, have fun with this, and don't forget to check the description to see where you can order that PDF. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time with more guitar tips and arrangements.